Yes, back in 2004, the Dean's High School received a grant from the Football Foundation. This allowed us to build an artificial pitch, which you see here, 7-a-side 3G, and 4 change rooms along with a reception area to allow us to open as a dual-use facility for community sports centre use in the evening and also school use during the day.
So it's been a real fillip for this area because we now have the 2 largest football clubs, community clubs in the county here, almost 100 teams between them. So over the last 7 years, it's been really good to see the teams grow by double and triple in some cases.
It was due resurfacing in 2010, so we had a look at this and we got the surface tested by some independent companies, and it was agreed that it was due renewal. The renewal for the surface came across via a sinking fund, which is one of the main conditions of any foundation grant. This meant that we put so much money aside each year so that when the replacement was due, the pot was there to keep the facility sustainable. Sport Day was an excellent tool for us. It allowed us to really evaluate our project. We did receive a good score. We're very proud of the effort that we put into achieving that. Sport Day allowed us to answer any questions that we had via the support from Suffolk FA. The County FA were terrific in helping us to enhance our project and to not just stand still but also to make it sustainable in the long term.
That we give them once we've done the actual formal M&E support days, which are kind of driven by the annual M&E data that the applicants are required to submit to us, and really the day is about finding out the impact of the grant, how the applicant is coping with running the facility, and if there are elements that they need help with, we will use our knowledge within the county and within the region, within the country, to help them get back on track. And if there are elements of good practice, we take those on board and then try and then share that with other projects. In the formal support day process, each project is scored at the end from 0 to 5, where 0 is not performing and needing a lot of help, and 5 is kind of outstanding, an example of good practice. It's really pleasing at the last support day that Dean's got a 4, which is a very high score, which means that they're on target, they're performing, and we're really pleased with the work that they're doing, given that we funded it back in 2004. Part of the application process and the condition of grant, any artificial pitch we fund has to have a sinking fund, and by that we mean that the applicant has to put sufficient money aside so they can actually replace the carpet when it comes to the end of its lifespan. And what we do is we ask them to make provision within the business plan.
I think really the important part about the monitoring and evaluation to make sure that the money is well used and make sure the facility is used is there. So these regular support days, I think, are welcomed by the club, and it gives us a chance to talk to the users to make sure that maybe they're hitting their targets, or if they're having problems, we can actually readjust and look at the football development plan again to help them readjust. Because sometimes you have to push. A new team's great, but maybe they happen next year rather than this year. So as long as they come in and talk to us about it, we can make sure that they get the support.
It's very key that funding does go towards a sustainable project, because we need to make sure we're doing things long term and leaving a legacy, and not just putting the money into a project which lasts for 1 or 2 years. The Sports Centre has now been here for 8 years, and it's something that we look to continue for years ahead.